technically, despite having the most wins in both the AL and all of Major League Baseball, 52 of them for New York, no longer the best winning percentage.
You expect your front offices to hit that gas pedal when it comes time to get a better team on the field post All-Star break, because the one thing that you know from the Yankees and the Orioles is what, Ben? You're going to fight with each other throughout the stretch here, and you want home field advantage.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You know, this guy is the mad scientist. I mean, he's all about green density. So in my mind, I feel like he's going to have the green speeds dialed in, and the angles he needs to land them and all that sort of stuff. I feel like he's going to be a good spot and playing the course well. And he's going to be hitting less club into a lot of these par threes too. So I just, we're talking about using a live guy. I love Bryson this week. I'm riding with Bryson.
Only on SportsGrid.
This new sports integrity partnership, Genius Sports, is involved in this. More protection.
They said that's going to allow them to beef up their protection and add more integrity monitoring tools to essentially catch bad behavior before it happens. This comes, obviously, after a just ton of scandals we've had across sports betting lately, whether it's the MLB umpire, Pat Hoberg.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Despite me being a Yankee fan, I think Joe would deserve the label as Aaron Judge's biggest fan, not through any bias, but just through the amount of money that he's made anybody who's been betting on him.
I just had him for that home run, and I'm going to go back to it today. That home run coming in at plus 230. Max Fried here, while he has been strong, this is Aaron Judge.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Game Time Decisions here on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Adam Kaufman with you here on a Monday, getting you set for a busy week of betting, and in particular, a busy evening of betting. Now, we know when it comes to the Olympics, a lot of the stuff obviously went on during the day at this point in time, unless you're talking about wagering on surfing, which maybe you are. There's not a whole lot going on over there overseas in terms of the live action, at least with the medal impact that we can wager on. But there is plenty that we can look ahead to tomorrow, which is exactly what we are going to do on this show. Olympic basketball talk with James Young on the way. Joe Madden has thoughts as well. We're going to talk both the men and the women. We will mix in some soccer talk with Brad Thomas a little bit later on as well, so that's going to be fun. Going to have a lot of baseball talk for you. Obviously, it's a medium-sized slate, you might say, here on a Monday after baseball. Very, very busy on the diamond yesterday. Today, a little bit lighter. It's not light. We're not talking 5 games, but a medium-sized slate and one game that is currently underway that we can tell you about. It's low scoring at the moment. The Mets up 1-0 in St. Louis currently, an unearned run in that one, I believe. Middle of the third inning in that contest, going to St. Louis or going to the Cardinals at bat, and so an opportunity to even things up. We'll see if they do. But at the moment, whether it's Palante or Minaya, we get a pretty good pitching matchup in that one. It's not exactly great pitchers all across the diamond tonight. And again, we'll do plenty of baseball later. Joe will have her thoughts. George Kurtz is going to join us to chime in on baseball as well, find out where people are betting. There are a few games during the 6 o'clock Eastern hour, which, of course, we are just underway with. Those games will come up in about a half hour or so. Other games a little bit later on and throughout the night, including a marquee event. Phillies and Dodgers. Who knows? Maybe a playoff preview. That one still about 4 hours away, so we'll have a lot of time to share our thoughts on that contest as well. One game that I do want to weigh in on, though, real quick, and it is one of the heavier favorites. And you consider the board that we have tonight, and there are some really interesting spots that I do think are worth attacking. Just sort of looking at it right now. In terms of games that are, let's say, within minus $1.50, somewhere in the pick 'em to favorite, but not overwhelming favorite range. There are some spots that I do like. I like the Reds a lot tonight in Miami. Don't think very well of or very highly of the way that Munoz is throwing the ball so far this year. It's a better matchup on the other side there for Cincy, and we'll see if Nick Martinez can basically strut his stuff and keep that thing. Well, I don't even want to keep it close, quite frankly. I'm on the Reds money line. Blow them out of the water. That would be nice. I've seen a lot of people on the Giants with Logan Webb on the mound in Washington. This isn't a game that I'm too highly invested in. A lot of people on the Astros. That is essentially a pick 'em in Texas with the Rangers. Astros are, I guess you might say, ever so slight dogs. I'm looking at, we're showing you there. Right there on that graphic. Depends on where you look. There with FanDuel, we're getting minus 108 on either side. In some places, Astros minus 108, the Texas Rangers minus 112. Do like the Twins a lot tonight, right around minus 120 in Chicago against the Cubs. And but the game I wanted to bring up, the biggest favorite on the board, that's the Oakland Athletics. All right, 2-1 favorites at home, which is just staggering to begin with, that we are talking about the Oakland Athletics being 2-1 favorites. I mean, this team is pesky. It's prickly. They get involved. They annoy. They screw up parlays from time to time. But they are a team that, when you consider the other side here, which is the Chicago White Sox, you understand why the line is what it is, and how are you not intrigued? Now, we were talking about this game a little bit when I was on I think it was in-game live overtime yesterday. And all right, well, do you like the A's? They're heavy favorites. At that point in time, it was right around minus 175. You're probably thinking, that's a huge jump, minus 175 to right around minus 205. Why? Well, the reason why is because the White Sox have pushed experience off a day and promoted Kai Busch, not to be confused with NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. Kai Busch is going to make his major league debut in Oakland tonight for the Chicago White Sox. Now, this White Sox team has lost 20 straight games, and there are the ridiculous graphics that are making their rounds on social media about what $100 better would be doing if they had invested in the, whoever was playing the White Sox each and every day. You just roll it over. You'd be up $500,000 right now. Nobody in their right mind would ever do that. I don't know why we promote these things, but I guess I'm the idiot who's even referencing it and talking about it. So I'm just as bad as the people that are putting out those accounts. All of that being said, Kai Busch. Now, I do think an interesting spot in this game, and one that I have invested in, is the Nerfy, no run first inning. And for anyone that has heard me on these shows, you know that I'm a sucker for a Nerfy bet. I'm not much of a Yerfy, the yes run first inning better. I do like to invest in the Nerfy. I have been doing so much less in recent days, even the last week, because it has just been revenge of the Nerfy. Conspiracy theorists will tell you the Major League Baseball has switched out the balls, and that's why we're getting so much more offense these days. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. I just know the Nerfies have not been cashing. But I do like the Nerfy spot in this game in particular, because I just think advantage, at least early on, and when I say early on, I'm talking first inning. I think that advantage pitchers, when hitters are seeing a guy for the very first time, which is very important here for Kai Busch. Now, Kai is going to be out there. I don't know if this is a current thing, not like I'm in the clubhouse walking around looking at him, but I can tell you, based on his baseball reference picture, he's another mustache guy. What I would say to Kai, if you are out there watching or listening, you're probably not. Just because you get called up and you're rocking a stash here in 2024, that doesn't make you Paul Skeens. But he's going to hope to go out there and dominate just as much. We'll see if he can do it here. But again, advantage pitchers early on against hitters when the hitters have not seen the guy beyond tape, when they don't have that firsthand experience. And so Kai Busch, the no-run first inning, I think is a very attractive spot. That being said, from there on out, give me Oakland. I would throw Oakland in money line parlays if that's the type of thing that you like to do. I think the A's are going to go out and smack the White Sox around, make it a 21-game skid for Chicago. I am invested in them doing so I certainly hope that is the way the game plays out. I probably wouldn't mess around with the total in this one. It could get out of hand, but it's also sort of it's in that range, 8.5, to where would a 5-3 game or a 6-2 game really surprise anybody, and then you're under. as opposed to obviously if it's 7-2 or 6-4 or whatever it may be, So I don't want to screw around with the total in this one. There are some other total spots that I do think are intriguing. You got a good pitching matchup in the Phillies-Dodgers game, under 7.5. I know a lot of people have been hammering the over in that one, just looking at the two offenses and saying 7.5 is too low. They may be right. Maybe Kurtz or Joe will feel the same way. I'm attracted to the under in this one. I think the under is an appealing spot given the pitchers that we have on the mound in that contest tonight. And again, Philadelphia and LA, it's going to be an interesting one with Nola and Glass now, two guys that have 3.5 ERAs coming into this contest. Again, the Mets and Cardinals, that one's moving. Let's see here. Still 1-0 and bottom 4 at this point in time. So offense hard to come by. Hopefully invested in the under in this contest. Came in with a respectable total, somewhat robust, honestly, coming in at 9 and right now pacing to hit that by a wide margin if St. Louis or New York, the Bats for that matter, don't wake up. But like I said, we're going to do a whole lot over the course of this show with a bounty of guests as well. We're going to talk Olympic hoops with quarterfinal play on the men's side beginning tomorrow, the women the day after. U.S., both sides bound for gold. We know it. 3 wins. They are there. They'll be celebrating all weekend long. I cannot even fathom there being an upset on either side of men's or women's hoops knocking out Team USA. The question is, who is going to win silver? So that is something we can get into with Coach James Young coming up in just a little bit. Of course, Coach from Betting Above the Rim, he joins us when we come on back here on Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par 5s. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16.
OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing a trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Thank you if you are watching, wherever you are finding us. If you are listening, of course, on Channel 159, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, SportsGrid Radio, we appreciate you there as well. And in some cases, you might be out there, not in this very moment, but in general, listening to podcasts. And if you listen to podcasts, I hope you are listening to BATR. Episode 75, Betting Above the Rim. It is dropped, and it's all about Olympic hoops. It is hosted by none other than SportsGrid personality, Coach JY, James Young. Coach, how are you, bud?
AK, good to be on with you. Yeah, I mean, I figure usually I have it, for Tuesday morning, but they're kind of starting Olympic Games at 5 in the morning, so I figured get my podcast out a little bit earlier for people to get some bets in for tomorrow's games.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, it's there's no time like the present when it comes to betting. Now, something that I was just talking about before you came on is that we know, I mean, barring I don't even know what, the United States men and women, we're talking basketball, of course, are both bound for gold. By the end of the weekend, they should both be celebrating. You consider the overall medal count in the Olympics right now, and the United States is just dismantling the rest of the world. 78-53 at last count, the overall lead on China. But again, just barely trailing China in the gold medal department, the all-important gold, 21-20 as things stand at the moment. But like I said, 2 more golds on the way at the very least in the form of basketball. Before we really dive into the matchups that we have in front of us on the men's side tomorrow, on the women's side the day after, am I seeing it right? I mean, can anybody get in the way of either of these 2 squads?
Not really, Adam. And if you really look at this USA team, both teams, they seem to not get off to great starts because I just feel like they are so much better than everyone else. So when you look at our teams, that's why I'm been a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, with the point spreads pregame because of the way we start games. But that being said, we are by far the best team in the world on both the men and the women. But I do think the women have a much bigger advantage than the men. You can look at the overall, if you put a pool of all of the top players from all the top teams, all the teams, the USA women have the 12 best players in the field. I mean, maybe you could say Satu Sabali from Germany could be, number 11, if you want to say, or 12 ahead of someone on USA. But on the men's side, you got to look at the fact that there are superstars. Obviously, Giannis plays tomorrow. The Joker plays tomorrow. SGA plays tomorrow. You could argue right then and there, those are 3 of the top 5 players in the world that aren't American.
So when it comes to the United States game, that is going to be 3:30 Eastern time. So don't worry, wherever you are in the country, you'll be able to watch this thing live. It'll be televised. You won't have to wake up in the middle of the night early for a matchup like some of these other countries are dealing with if you really want to watch. U.S. and Brazil. Now, you might say the United States a modest favorite, only minus 50,000 on the money line. The Americans minus 26.5 in this one, the total, and we have seen inflated totals in these USA games. 185.5. Of course, we have a bevy of prop options as well. What is the right way to bet this game?
It's to bet it live. I'm not going to lay the points pre-game, Adam, because I just don't know if we're going to get off to that good start. It seems like when Anthony Edwards hits in the game, things start to happen because he's just uber aggressive. So prop-wise, number one, I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards over 13.5 points. You figure that he is going to continue to get the shot volume. If he gets up 9 or 10 shots, he's going to hit the prop, especially if it's a blowout. Some of the starters don't play big minutes. Rebounding, key here tomorrow, folks. Brazil is the best offensive rebounding team in the tournament. So where do you look? Go to the defensive rebounding. Who's our leading rebounder? It's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis over 7.5 rebounds is something that I like because I feel like he's got to keep them off the boards defensively, and then offensively he can get going. A way to look at rebounding too is on the opposite way, right? If a team like Brazil is going to try and muck it up and attack the offensive boards, then maybe you look at team total points for us, because if they attack the boards, ready, and don't get the rebound, Adam, that leads to runouts and transition. And that's where the United States excels, in the open floor. So we'll look at maybe the points prop, team prop for the United States. Lastly, we talked about it, the ball. The ball is different, but I feel like some point Steph's got to get there, right? Over 2.5 made threes. If there's a game you want to get him going, it's against a team not as strong as Brazil. Steph Curry over 2.5 made threes tomorrow.
We got a few minutes left in this segment, Coach. We'll talk about the women on the other side. Let's run through these other games that we have that are, honestly, I mean, should be better games. Certainly, at least Vegas believes so. The point spreads in all three is between 6.5 and 7.5. Greece and Germany, the 5 a.m. Eastern game with Giannis's team, the underdog, Germany minus 7.5. How do you bet this one?
You could argue that Germany could be the second best team in the world the way they're playing. It's either them or Canada, right? And their guard play is outstanding, led by Dennis Schroeder. Here's the thing. If you look at Greece, Greece has not scored big numbers in this tournament. They have scored 77, 77, 79. Well, here comes the Germany team that's given up 77 points or less. Germany walks the ball up the floor. They want you to play half-court basketball on both ends. But look on the flip side, a team like Greece, AK, 2 out of 3 games, shot under 29% from 3. I think they do the Miami Heat defense with Giannis, which is crowd the lane, make him shoot the ball as a team. Look for Greece to go under their team total prop.
Nikola Jokic's Serbia squad, 6.5-point favorites against Australia. Where do you go here?
Bogan Bogdanovic. Bogan, there's 2 of them. So Bogdanovic's point spread is 17.5. He didn't hit it 2 out of 3 games, AK. They were blowouts, 1 in a loss, 1 in a win. But a close game is South Sudan, who he got 30. Australia loads up on the Joker. Joker rebounds plus assists. But Bogdanovic over 17.5 points is the play, provided that the game is close.
20 seconds, a thought on Canada and France?
Very simply put, guard play, guard play, guard play, guard play. Canada covers minus 7.5.
All right, we can build upon that when we come on back. We'll also get to the women. Their quarterfinal matches are just a day away. We'll come back with Coach James Young right after this.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par 5s. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Adam Kaufman here with Coach James Young. Of course, you can get him on Twitter at Coach Young NJ. Be sure that you do. A lot of great basketball content out there, and he provides it on the regular here on SportsGrid. Also has the Betting Above the Rim show and podcast that you should make sure that you check out. Quarterfinal play, men's Olympic hoops throughout the early part of the day tomorrow into the afternoon, depending, of course, where you are, but I do have my East Coast bias. So we have France, Canada, Germany, Greece, Brazil, U.S., Serbia, Australia, all tomorrow, not in that order. We were just talking before the break just a little bit, Coach, about France and Canada. I want to spend just a little bit more time in this one. Again, the Canadians are, I think in a really interesting spot. Now, they're 7.5-point favorites in this game. When I'm looking at the prop market in particular, the guy that jumps out at me, and I got him at over 21.5 points. It's now, depending on where you look, I'm looking at FanDuel 23.5, albeit at plus money. That's SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I know he's had kind of an up and down offensive performance, but this is effectively the playoffs now. I mean, this is quarterfinal play. This is, you're chasing a medal. This isn't just trying to win your group at this point in time. And so, the common logic, you would say, is starters are going to have the reins lessened a little bit. They're going to be able to play more minutes. They're going to be out there more. You're going to get the ball into your best players' hands more frequently. This feels like a spot where SGA is going to erupt.
Yeah, you're right, Adam. And simply put, who the hell's checking them on France? I mean, Nicolas Batum? Evan Fournier? No, I mean, if there's an opportunity right there, I think you could look at SGA as someone who should be able to benefit on that. And then it also depends on, who guards SGA. You can turn around and you can go the other way. Honestly, and I think you got to be careful, okay? And that's RJ Barrett. It's all going to depend on how much time Rudy Gobert gets, right? Because of the shot blocking ability of those of both Wembanyama and Big Rudy. So I could look at RJ Barrett as well, who's played relatively well. Maybe look at the 3-point prop market in regards to RJ Barrett or Dylan Brooks, as they may score more from the three. Concerned about both Gobert and Wembanyama down low, but we haven't really seen Rudy play all that well, let's be honest.
Coach, let's talk about the women while we've got a little time here as well. Their quarterfinal games coming up on Wednesday. U.S. is playing Nigeria. We also have Serbia, Australia, Germany, France, Spain, Belgium. Now, there are much smarter people in this betting space than I am when it comes to handicapping these games, and I would put you on that list, by the way. Some others, though, that I saw putting out picks as soon as lines came out for these women's games, and we have already seen considerable movement. As an example, I got Belgium at -1.5. It is now 5.5. I got France -2.5. It is now 5.5. Are you on the overwhelming favorites in these games?
Yes, I think Belgium is securely the second best team in this tournament. Well, probably I would say Germany is probably second, and then Belgium is third. Those two teams are really good, and they match up really well. Now, France is another story. France is a team that if you want to look at a prop, obviously they lost their last game 79-72 to Australia. They have a player that used to play in the WNBA called Maureen Johannes. Look at her 3-point prop. Folks, she shoots at least 7 a game. That's all she does. More than half the shots are from 3. So look at her props. Adam, when you talk about the USA, okay, and I want people to understand this. We got an issue here with this team. They're going to win a gold medal. The problem is they don't get off the good starts. Why? Their offense is flawed with Nafisha Collier as a 3, Diana Taurasi at the 2, and Chelsea Gray at the 1. Did anybody notice that we started out very poor against Germany? Did anybody notice that Chelsea Gray and Diana Taurasi did not come back into the game after the first quarter? And what happened? When Ionescu, Jewel Lloyd, Alyssa Thomas, Kalia Copper, Kelsey Plum, when these ladies get into the game, they move the needle. So I'm not going to lay the points for the USA pregame if Cheryl Reeve rolls out the same lineup. If she does, I'm waiting for Sabrina Ionescu, and it's either Jewel Lloyd or Jackie Young check in into the backcourt. I'm jumping in on USA Live because that's when the run will start.
Coach, about 20 seconds. I know we're not getting pre-Olympic numbers at this point, but it is obviously pre-quarterfinal play on both sides. Where would you invest your money, men and women, on a silver medal?
I think I'm going with France for the women and Germany for the men.
Coach James Young, thank you, Coach.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
All right, we are back. Thanks again to the coach, James Young. A lot of great insights from him, both men and women, on the Olympic basketball side of things. We're going to talk a lot of baseball coming up with our next guest, Joe Madden, who, of course, is often hosting or providing great analysis here on SportsGrid on a slew of different programs. You can get her on Twitter at Joe Madden Sports. But Joe's not limited to baseball. Joe's got Olympic basketball thoughts as well. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. The Olympics have been thrilling today. Canadian women's beach volleyball was able to beat out Team USA today in a huge upset. They were the number 4 ranked team there, beating the number 2 ranked USA. So it's been an exciting day, especially for the Canadians. It's been great.
So as far as Olympic basketball, look, I mean, Canada, both men and women, I mean, they can go out there, they can put on a show. They're not going to beat the U.S. because nobody is. I mean, this is just the utter domination that the American men and women have put forth, as we were just talking about with Coach. But how do you see Canada performing on both sides?
I think Canada is going to do strong against France for the men's team. I'm looking at them to come out nicely. Now, they're 7.5-point favorites, and I do think it's too much of a favorite versus this team from France. Wembanyama will be so strong on defense, and I'm looking for him to really lock down the Canadians. It's a small team out there for the men's team, so when I'm looking at breaking down this game, I will be taking it to the under. That total coming in at 163.5. And I do think you look at this one for France to cover that spread plus 7.5. This is a tough France defense for Canada to be able to get past, and if they're not able to break away in this game, I think they struggle to cover. So I do think they could get the win, but I think France keeps it super competitive with them in a low-scoring battle. As for the women out there, I think they have every ability. I'm just pulling up the lines where they're sitting here and what that spread is again, because I can't remember off the top of my head, Adam, for the women's Canadian team. But I think they should stay competitive. I'm not seeing lines right now for them.
Yeah,
out
actually,
there,
we don't
but
have Canada on the women's side. They've been eliminated at this point in time. So yeah, it's just the men against France. Yeah, the women again: Nigeria, U.S., Serbia, Australia, Germany, France, Spain, and Belgium, who are the ones that qualified for the quarterfinals. That's on me, Joe.
That's why I was wondering because, I cheer for Australia too. It's my home country. So I was thinking maybe I got it confused and it was Canada that advanced, not Australia. And I was like, I thought it was Australia. So Australia, that 7.5-point favorite over Serbia. I think they'll come out nice and strong and cover that spread. And that total 139.5, I do think it goes over because I think Serbia will get a couple more points than people expect, Adam.
Let's get to some baseball, Joe. And I think in many ways you have to start with the biggest favorite on the board just because of who it is. The Oakland Athletics, heavily favored at home against the Chicago White Sox, who we know can't get out of their own way. They are just losing at this point in time. I mean, you can go on various books and bet when are the White Sox going to get their next win. It's that sad at this point in time. It's 20 straight losses, and now they have promoted Kai Busch from the minors to make his major league debut in this game tonight against J.P. Sears and the Oakland A's on the other side. Do you lay the number with Oakland? Do you go to the run line with Oakland, or are you tempted to go on the money line with the White Sox, thinking tonight's the night?
Tonight's the night. I can't say tonight's the night for the Chicago White Sox. This team, like you said, absolutely struggling. 20 losses. Kai Busch coming up, and will he be the hero to shut down the Oakland A's here and get the White Sox the win? Maybe, but I'm not willing to put my money on the Chicago White Sox at the moment. And we look at the Oakland A's here, and I don't want to lay $2 on them for them to be able to get the win on the money line. I don't even want to touch that run line laying 1.5. I'm not getting enough value. What I will look at here for the Oakland A's is their team total. That team total over 4.5 runs, coming in at plus 130. I do think this team will be able to put the runs on the board no matter what happens in this game. Oakland has really stepped up offensively as of late, and that has been led by Rooker out there. He's actually tied with Vladdy going into today for the most home runs since the All-Star break, with 15 home runs, one above Aaron Judge, who's at that 14 mark. So I will look at Rooker. He got a home run yesterday to come out and get another home run today. That's coming in at plus 360. And then I'm going to turn to J.P. Spears. J.P. Spears of the Oakland A's, I do think has every ability to go over his strikeout number today. That number coming in at 5.5 at plus 130 to the over. I'm expecting those runs to come hard and fast or his strikeouts to come hard and fast in this one versus a Chicago White Sox team that's really struggling out there. This is one of the teams that strikes out the most in the league, and I expect those strikeouts to come. So don't be afraid of J.P. Spears for his strikeouts over 5.5.
Joe, intriguing game tonight, Reds and Marlins. And, you have a Miami team that absolutely stinks, obviously. The season is over. The Reds, you could make the case that Cincinnati's not going anywhere either, but still at least within reach. 6.5 games entering the night out of a wild card spot with a whole lot of games left, right around 50 remaining in the regular season. They have the talent to get themselves back on track, the Reds, and make a little bit of a run. But right now it's ugly, and it's that much uglier for the Marlins. I've seen a lot of people, and I am one of them, that are on Cincinnati tonight. My question, though, is one, if you do feel the same way, but if you do, is it support for Cincinnati, a team that is perplexing with an under 500 record and yet a right around plus 30 run differential, or is it simply a fade of Rodri Munoz on the other side?
You got to fade Munoz out here. He's absolutely struggling, and we look at those home splits for him. 1 and 2 at home with an ERA of 6.43. So it is a fade of him. But I do think the Cincinnati Reds are a better team than they've shown as of late. L.A. De La Cruz out there, I think you can circle him for that stolen base. And I would expect him to be able to go deep in this game as well. His Stolen bases coming in at plus 118, 57 stolen bases on the season. We know he's able to get it. And with Munoz out there, I think he could steal a couple in this one. So I think the Reds have the upper hand. Martinez getting the start here for them, 5-5 on the season with a 3.65 ERA. I think the Reds pull it out. I wouldn't be shocked if they come in here and cover the run line as well. Miami's had a couple of games that they've won as of late that I really didn't expect. I think this is a huge letdown game for them here tonight with Munoz getting the start.
Joe, I mentioned earlier that I'm a big Nerfy bettor, and it has not been overly successful in the last couple of weeks. It's been the revenge of the Yerfy, the yes run first inning for anyone that does not know, and that has been very profitable of late. And I see, looking at some of your favorite spots tonight, that there is a Yerfy bet at plus money, no less, that you really like. Twins and Cubs. What's taking you in that direction?
Yeah, I'm looking at this game, and I know the wind is blowing in, so it can stop a lot of those deep balls between the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago Cubs tonight. But I look at the starting pitching matchup here. Fiesta coming out for the Minnesota Twins and Hendricks coming out for the Cubs. And I don't trust either of these starting pitchers. I think we're going to see the runs in that first inning with the Yerfy coming in at plus 112. Both of these lineups, they've been all over the place. The Cubs have been letting games go, but what has been solid is these Yerfys. When we look at the breakdowns between these two teams, we have seen those Yerfys cashing more than the Nerfies. So with the pitching matchup, inconsistencies with Fiesta, I do think we could see the Cubs hit, but more likely here, I do think the Twins are going to hit off of Hendricks. I am looking here at Fiesta to be able to go over his strikeouts. I've actually altered that number to 6+ strikeouts at plus 126. The Chicago Cubs are striking out a heck of a lot. They're not having that discipline at the plate either, Adam.
That Reds game, pardon me, just getting underway for anyone that is curious and eager to place a bet. You can do so as the game is again just getting started. I want to ask you about a whole bunch more games that we have in front of us, Joe. So don't go anywhere. We're going to keep chatting about tonight's medium-sized Major League Baseball slate. Lingering thoughts on that Twins game as well, because again, people, in terms of at least the splits out there, to the extent that you buy into those, the handle, the money, people are overwhelmingly on Minnesota. Is that the right call? We'll be back with Joe Madden on Game Time Decisions.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it. They'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Back here in Game Time Decisions, we've got Joe Madden with us. You can get her on Twitter at Joe Madden Sports. Runs. That's what's going on in Major League Baseball right now. So the Mets entered the fifth inning up 1-0 in St. Louis. It is now a 5-0 game going to the bottom of the fifth inning for the Cards, trying to claw back in this one. As someone who was on the Mets' first five, I'm happy about that. The Diamondbacks, how about back-to-back home runs to start things off for Arizona in Cleveland, up 2-0. Marte, who has just been a missile lately, and then Moreno, the two of them going back-to-back to begin the game. And Joe here, she said it just before we went to break, so you had time to hop on, and she said, don't be surprised if Elly De La Cruz leaves the yard tonight. First at bat of the game in the opening inning for Cincinnati, a 2-run shot, De La Cruz. So, Joe, where else are you going to make us money tonight?
Well, I feel like just saying that, we should call it a day. It happened yesterday with that Dodgers game. The first thing I called it came out nicely. But no, I'm looking at the San Francisco Giants here versus the Washington Nationals. I'm expecting Logan Webb to come out nice and strong in this matchup. I'm taking him over the 18.5 outs. That's coming in at plus 100. His road split, it's a 4.30 ERA. But we look at the Washington Nationals here with Patrick Corbin getting the start. And you know we can't trust Patrick Corbin. Bettors that have been betting against him his whole career have done phenomenally well. And this season is no different. He's 2-11 on the season with a 5.88 ERA. I do think the Giants, even though they've had some quiet bats in some of these games, will be able to beat the Nationals by 2 runs. So I'm looking at the Giants laying the 1.5. It's not as good of a price that I would love, but at minus 110, I have to hit on it, Adam.
Those are all the games that are going on right now. And, of course, the 3 just underway, despite the fact that, again, revenge of the Yerfie. I said it before. Yes, run first innings, both for Cincinnati and now San Francisco is on the board. Top of the first. Probably a home run there, too. Let's dig in and find out that quickly. San Francisco up one, leadoff homer by Fitzgerald. My God, it's incredible. And what's wild about it, too, credit to the betting market, Joe. I don't know how often that you personally really like dig into home run props, and I know you've made reference to some already, so I imagine quite a bit, but sort of scanning around, and the people that I pay attention to that are big like home run parlay people or round robin people or just playing the straights, whatever. I mean, Marte, De La Cruz, Fitzgerald, 3 of the names that I was seeing coming up all day today. Almost like predicting home runs is easy or something.
It feels easy in some of these games because you look at that top of the lineup against a weak pitcher. And if they're going to hit them, they're going to hit them right away. And that's what I normally find, Adam. If you the first time up to bat or the second time up for bat for these bats, if they don't hit it, hoping that they hit it in that 9th inning late it's really hard to do unless there's someone like Gunnar Henderson, who he's never out of one of these games to hit that home run late. So the home run props are a lot of fun. You're getting a lot of value, but I do think you have to ride with someone if you're liking him in one of these games in one of the matchups to continue to ride with him, unless it's because you're looking at that pitching matchup and really do feel that the pitcher is weak versus that the bat is going to be hot. So you got to play around with it. I love to keep riding players like Aaron Judge for that home run. Even though the value has been lost, we're not getting him at even plus 300. It's plus 170s to plus 190s, depending on the matchup for his home run. But again, if you're betting that day in and day out, we're betting minus 110 on money lines. Why wouldn't we go for that plus money on Aaron Judge?
So, Joe, I have not even mentioned, I mean, people who watch or have heard me on SportsGrid, you probably know it because other people make reference to it all the time, but I have not tipped my hand in any way, shape, or form during this particular show. I'm a Boston area guy. I'm a Red Sox fan. I haven't even brought up my Boston Red Sox in their matchup tonight against the Kansas City Royals. Very important game, quite frankly, for Boston and for Kansas City as well. I'm looking at the wild card standings. The Royals in that 3rd and final wild card spot with, again, a lot of time left. They've got a 2.5 game cushion on the Red Sox in this contest coming up here. The pitching matchup in Kansas City, James Paxton, his second go-around for the Red Sox, was acquired from the Dodgers just a couple weeks back. Brady Singer on the other side. It seems like everybody, and I get it, I wouldn't even defend the other side, is on Kansas City here. Is that where you lean?
No, I'm not going to lean on Kansas City in this one. I do think James Paxton is a better pitcher than his numbers really do reflect. I like what we saw out of him with the Dodgers, and coming over here to the Red Sox, I do think he's going to find success. We look at his numbers versus the Royals over his career, and he's actually being so strong versus them. He's gone 4-1 with a 2.57 ERA. Bradley Singer on the other side, though, is so phenomenally strong for the Kansas City Royals. I really like what we see out of him. He's 8-6 on the season. That 2.88 ERA is nice and strong. I think this total is too high in this one, Adam. The total's sitting at 10, and I understand both of these teams have every ability to go deep in games, and they both have the ability to put a ton of runs on the board. But with this pitching matchup, I think people are underestimating Paxton in this one, overestimating how many runs the Red Sox will be able to put on Bradley Singer, or maybe just thinking the Kansas City Royals are going to put on 8 runs themselves. So I'm looking at this one staying under the number of 10. Double digits is too many for me in this one. I think at most this is a 5-4 game with the Kansas City Royals pulling off the win, but I don't love it at minus 135 for them on the money line. So I will play the under 10 in this one, even though the offenses are clicking on both sides. These pitchers will come out nice and strong today.
I'm with you, Joe. I bet the under earlier today. Complete agreement. We got about a minute to go. The last game of the night. It's the best game, at least on paper, on the diamond today. And that is, of course, the Phillies, the Dodgers, potential playoff preview down the line. 2 games that are both, or 2 teams, I should say, that are both in the vicinity of 20 games over 500, and star pitchers and Nola and Glasnow on the mound tonight. Where do you go with this one?
This one, I have to look at the Dodgers to be able to get the win, but they're too pricey at minus 130 for me. So what I did is I parlayed that with Tyler Glasnow to have 7+ strikeouts in this matchup. That's coming in at plus 130. We know the Phillies bats have been pretty cold as of late, and I don't trust them here. But looking at the Dodgers lineup, we know there are holes in their lineup at the moment, and I do think this is such a pivotal game for both of these teams. Both of these teams need the win in this one. I expect it to be a close, a tight game between the two. So I'll parlay both of those together, Adam.
Joe Madden, get her on Twitter at Joe Madden Sports. Joe, thanks so much.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par 5s. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
All right, we are back here on Game Time Decisions. We have got a lot of great stuff coming your way. Of course, we just had Coach James Young and Joe Madden, and then coming up in the next hour, we're really going to be bouncing around. We got Brad Thomas joining us for some soccer talk. It was electric on the pitch earlier today. George Kurtz, more baseball. Adam Kaplan, everybody here, you know Adam Kaplan talking NFL. He has been bouncing around from training camp to training camp. We'll get his thoughts on some of the latest news and injuries in the NFL. And maybe even a thought or two on upcoming preseason games because, football is here, folks. And then none other than the sportsbook consigliere. Of course, I'm talking Dave Sharapan. He is going to join us toward the end of the hour. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Again, to update you on what's going on in Major League Baseball as things stand right now. Early offense, cash in your fees if you bet them, folks. We have got 2-0 Arizona in Cleveland. That one is going to the bottom of the first. 2-0 Cincinnati at the end of one in Miami. And 1-0 bottom first. Giants are leading the Washington Nationals. The other game that is farther along top six, 5-0 the Mets up in St. Louis. And look, there's a wonderful thing in this space is that if you find people that you trust, that you are willing to invest in their thoughts, in their handicaps, in their market, and, even at small weight, everybody's unit size is different. Your wager's your business, obviously, but at whatever the number that you are going to invest, and there are so many different options, it takes a lot of luck, quite frankly. Sometimes the unthinkable, the magic can happen. And as we were chatting with Joe, I hit, and this was not mine, I can't take credit for it, but I tailed it, and I will take credit for that. I hit a 3 home run parlay in the first inning. The first inning. Are you kidding? Marte, De La Cruz, and Fitzgerald all homered in the opening inning. Cash a plus 20,500 ticket that I also not only played straight, but played the round robin on as well. Because honestly, so how often do you hit 2 and not the third? First inning cash. Goodness gracious. Good start to the night. Hope it's a sign of things to come, and maybe we can have a record setter here tonight. Even if everything went south the rest of the way, I think we'd still wind up green when you cash one of those. But hopefully we keep on going. That is just a mammoth start. So hopefully more balls leave the yard, and hopefully people out there watching or listening, you as well, were on various home run picks, either playing them straight, playing parlays, doing whatever. And as we know, takes the right combination to be able to hit one of those. I can't tell you. I must invest in 15 versions of that type of thing on a daily basis, maybe more than that. So this is truly a squirrel finding a nut situation, but we will take it. Only takes one, right? Doesn't matter how many you invest in. You hit the one, it covers the rest. So wonderful. We will keep you posted, obviously, on the progress in these games as to whether we get more and more scoring. Early indications are if you played unders in these contests, it might be a long night. We'll see. Rest of the games on the diamond, and there are 5 of them that are still remaining. 3 are going to come up during the 8 o'clock Eastern hour, so we're a little over an hour away. Plenty of time to preview them with George Kurtz in a little while. Again, Astros Rangers, the Battle of Texas, Twins Cubs. Joe likes the Yerfie in that one, maybe even another home run. We'll see. Red Sox Royals, my Sox. The other Sox, the White Sox and Athletics, will get started at 9:40 Eastern, about 90 minutes from now, and then just after we sign off and you are in to the next show here on SportsGrid, it will be tracking Phillies and Dodgers, which I said it to Joe earlier, and I believe it to be true. When it comes to at least the games that you look forward to most here on this slate, it has to be this matchup in the National League. I am one of those people that, look, I don't mind telling you, I don't root for the Dodgers. I wouldn't say I necessarily root for them to fail, not in season anyway, maybe in the playoffs, because those teams that just go out and spend the way that LA has in incomprehensible ways and all of the moves at the trade deadline and everything else. It's jealousy. That's what it is. It's the same reason that people rooted for, I'm a Patriots fan. People rooted for the Pats to fail on an annual basis for basically 20 years. Well, baseball fans, did that with the Yankees for a long time. Now, I think the collective, unless you are a Dodgers fan, roots against LA. The difference is, at least all those teams I mentioned before win. The Dodgers have that one championship during the 2020 shortened season, nothing since, and they have been chasing with their wallets, and we'll see if this is a yet another move in that right direction for them. We're going to come back. Hour number 2, Game Time Decisions, is on the way, and more guests on the way as well. Stay with us.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
It is hour number 2, Game Time Decisions. Much, much, much more coming your way here. NFL, Major League Baseball, who knows what else, but I can promise you soccer, because we're going to head to the pitch right now with my good buddy Brad Thomas, who you can get on Twitter at Mr. Brad Thomas, Lord BLT on Twitter there. He is a betting analyst for NBC Sports, co-hosts the What's the Spread show, has his own VIP bets that he gives out. You should jump in the Discord. He's out there making people money in the soccer community as well. It's been fun, I imagine, betting Olympics for you.
Yeah, it is now. All right. Like, I feel like when it started out, I couldn't hit a bet. Probably went maybe like 1 in 4 on the first match day, but I settled things down. I started taking a deeper look on how these teams were going to play, because obviously tactically it's a lot different when you have these U23 teams versus the senior teams, different managers, different players, so different tactics altogether, but it's been pretty nice now.
Let's talk about the Olympic women here and the U.S. in particular. We have some games that are coming our way in as things stand. I mean, less than 24 hours anyway. I don't feel like doing the exact math, but on Tuesday, and U.S. and Germany. Again, women's side, the United States is the favorite to qualify for the next round. It seems like most of what I read, people are on the U.S., and understandable favorites. But the biggest consensus bet, and I know you are very much on this as well, is the under 2.5 goals. People are expecting, despite some early, pretty impressive offensive performances by the U.S., a little bit earlier in the tournament, people are expecting a complete absence of goals in this matchup tomorrow. What do you see?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the under. And, people might see that first game when they played against each other. The United States scored 4 goals. It was an absolute thriller of a contest. We have to remember there's a big difference in playing in the group stage versus knockout rounds. You make one mistake in the group stage, you can kind of bounce back. You make a mistake in the knockouts, teams are going to sit so deep, you're not going to be able to even penetrate their back lines. I'm going under 2.5. I played it at minus 115. The number out in most shops are on minus 135. That's fine. I think that the pathway to victory for this German team is to lock it down, sit in a low block, and prevent scoring opportunities. If we watch the United States against Japan, one thing's for certain, that team did not get out of first gear for about 70 minutes. Changes will probably be made in this match because you can't do that against a really senior team like the Germans. We know this United States team is much, much younger than the teams that we've had in the past. It was a changing of the guard. So I think that the experience of Germany is going to be able to keep the United States out. If they don't keep them out for full time, if they don't keep them out for multiple goals, they'll at least keep them out with just one. And the under sounds so nice. I want to add something else to this game because I don't think I've said this yet. I'm a guy who likes to play trends. Sophia Smith scored 2 goals against Germany. She's plus 205 to score. I think you have to sprinkle it. I know I don't like taking goal scorers in games that I think are going to be unders, but her having the brace in the first game between these two, it could happen again.
I'm glad you brought that up because knowing you as I do, you're not just a sides and total guy. You like to, throw caution to the wind, make some same game parlays, that type of thing. Where would you look if you were to craft something for this match?
Yeah, I'd probably be a super sicko. I'd do something with negative correlation. So I would probably take like under 2.5 goals, Sophia Smith to score. And I'd probably take USA to qualify. The number has actually gone way different than I thought it would be. I think it was minus 180 for the United States to qualify last night. It's already down to minus 200, which kind of makes me a little less excited. But that's probably the most correlation that I'll get with the negative correlation in the goal score and the total, with the United States still advancing.
How about Brazil and Spain, the later game in the afternoon? I was watching Spain earlier today. Of course, that was the men's side of things. Now this is the women. The men did advance, although they did not make it easy on themselves. What do you see here in this one?
I love tracking the prices. I said smart money probably plays Brazil plus a goal. That was minus 120 yesterday. Now we're at minus 128, flirting to minus 130. You always got to talk about the 10% rule. It's probably getting out of playable ability. I think Spain qualifies and advances. Brazil were quite fortunate to advance in their last match because they played against the hosts in France and they played without Marta. Well, Marta went ahead and appealed her red card decision, but the FIFA said, listen, you cannot appeal a 2-game match ban. It's just not allowed. So she's likely going to lose that appeal, and they're likely going to be without their top goal scorer. My only problem with backing Spain and the -1 goal start is they've been slow starters. They've had teams score on them first, and they've had to kind of chase the game. If you go against a team like Brazil and they score first on you, they're going to lock it down much like the Germans, but I think they're a little bit faster, a little bit more physical than that German side. And I don't mean physicality and like brute strength, but I mean they can play between the lines and really, really trap the ball in instances where you might get in good scoring opportunities. I'd probably still take Brazil plus the 1. When Spain and Brazil played, remember that was Marta getting sent off in the 45th minute. They didn't score in that first half when it was even strength. It was 0-0. I think Brazil can do a lot of, I don't want to say damage, but a lot of sitting back and being smart and making sure they get this game to extra time and hopefully penalties and win this on penalties.
You know me, I'm a junkie to parlay outcomes between, all right, we got 2 games in front of us. Let's parlay the 2 together and see if we can get 2 things to hit. If you're looking at these 2 games, I know you love the under in the opening game. As far as the second game, do you have a favorite bet from each you'd put together?
Yeah, this is going to be sick, but I would probably say I have to do it, right? Like it's minus 128. I'd probably say the under in the first game and Spain over 1.5 goals in the second game. If we're talking about a parlay, I could really realistically see Brazil finding the back of the net first and Spain chasing the game, having to get 2 goals. Why don't we just add something on top of that? I don't even know if this line's out. Yes, it is. Why don't we add this to the parlay to make it a little more spicy? So we're going to go with the first game. We're going to take under 2.5 goals. That's the United States-Germany game. This game, we're going to take Spain team total over 1.5. And if your book allows it, add Spain over 6.5 corners because they have been chasing the game and getting a ton of quarters after they concede first.
What's that number?
I don't know. I didn't build it, but I just feel like they're all around minus 120. So the odds are going to be, 7 or 8 to 1? That's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I like that. All right, so if we're looking at the, again, women's side, gold medal winner, where I'm looking on FanDuel, Spain is the plus 125 favorite, United States just behind plus 165, and then you have a jump there for Germany and Brazil, obviously. Where would you invest right now? Do you think the U.S. can get it done, or do you go with the favorite?
I'd go with Spain, but I will say this, as the sicko I am, I gave out Germany to win the gold medal on Thursday on the Final Third podcast that I'm a member of, because I thought that if they advance out of the first round, we're going to see a line against them in the United States that's not going to be favorable to play. You're not going to have the opportunity to jump on Germany. And I think that the Germans have the experience, the age advantage to kind of grind out a result. But ultimately, Spain's going to win this. They have a unique opportunity. If you look at all of these trophies, these championships, these major soccer championships, Spain, the Spanish Federation is dominating them. They won Euros. They're probably going to win this tournament. They're going to win the men's tournament, and it's just going to be a Spanish onslaught of brilliant football. I think the favorites are rightful favorites. They'll probably win outright.
Brad Thomas, he mentioned what's the spread, NBC Sports Bet. You can get him on Twitter at Mr. Brad Thomas. Where can people find your picks, my friend?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Brad Thomas. Also, if you want to check out my VIP picks, I have a Discord. It's wap.com/Gamblers Guild. You can just type in Gamblers Guild. Just did some numbers. Quick tout myself. 89 units up in golf alone to start the year.
Keep it up, brother. We'll talk soon.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just got this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
All right, we are back here on Game Time Decisions. Adam Kaufman, and if you are watching, if you are listening, we greatly appreciate wherever you are finding us. Of course, channel 159 SportsGrid Radio on Sirius XM. We appreciate you there as well. All right, we did some baseball with Joe Madden earlier. Talked about all the first inning runs, home runs that we have seen so far. Just to update you on the board real quick, where things stand. And probably more offense, quite frankly. 6-0, the Mets up in St. Louis. That's bottom 7. Guardians have tied it up 2-2 with the Diamondbacks, middle of 2. Reds added another, up 3-0 in Miami and looking for more, top 3. And the Giants still up 1-0 in Washington and looking to add another with a runner on third right now. And like I said, top third. All other games starting just after 8 o'clock, a little under an hour, about 45 minutes or so from now. And to help us break those down, as well as react to what we've seen so far, none other than George Kurtz. Kurtzy, how are you, bud?
Doing well. As I was telling you before we came on here, my family is in Asia, so I am alone. You thought I watched a lot of sports before? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Does that lead to more gambling in an empty house because all you have you just have time to just sit there and click all throughout the day?
I hadn't thought about that. I'll tell you what makes me gamble the most is when I do one of these shows. Not a guest appearance, but when I do a full show, because you're going to be on for 3-4 hours, right? Don't you gamble more? Don't you bet more when you're doing a show here? Because, hey, we're watching all the games here. That makes me click more. Generally, my wife works nights, so nothing's really changed that way for me. Most games are on at night. So, no, I don't think it will, but it has crossed my mind. Will I gamble more now? I don't think so, but we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, I guess we will. Let's see how many more bets you intend to place in the next couple of segments based on the conversation that we have. Before we get to the games that are in front of us tonight, were you invested at all in the games that are happening right now?
Of course. Got the Mets wrong. Thought the trip from L.A. going to St. Louis and back to Colorado, that's a fun trip. It's a makeup game for the Mets, So I was on St. Louis. And I sort of knew better because St. Louis, they played late last night too, having the Sunday night game, and should have known better. Maybe a little let down here. So going to bite it there. But everything else is looking pretty solid here. We're on the under in San Francisco. I'm pretty much, Adam, almost always on the under when San Fran plays. All right, I just don't like that offense all that much at all. I know they scored some runs against Cincinnati over the weekend. That was somewhat annoying, but it is what it is there. And listen, we're picking against the Marlins. I ate it over the weekend, right? They beat Atlanta twice here. That hurt. But still, we're picking against the Marlins. And, of course, we're picking against the White Sox. We're probably going to pick against Colorado as well.
Let's go to the games that we have coming up here again. A few in the 8 o'clock Eastern hour, and so a little less than an hour away. Let's start with the battle for Texas here. Astros and Rangers, Brown and Heaney, the pitching matchup. Records aside, pretty comparable pitchers in terms of their individual stats this year. Their ERAs almost identical. A lot of people, including me, on the Astros tonight who are favorites in this one. Not overwhelming favorites, but they are favorites in this game. Looking at the numbers there, minus 108. And, it's on our graphic here. And again, depends on where you look. It's exactly a pick 'em. Where do you go with this one?
Yeah, well, you can make that a lot of people. And Adam, +1, because I'm with you there. I'm on Houston as well. The Rangers are a weird team. You just don't know if they're going to hit game in, game out. They did some damage against the Red Sox, but the Red Sox pitching staff isn't all that great here. And Hunter Brown, by the way, I know their numbers are comparable, him and Heaney, but Hunter Brown's pitched better of late. So that's really all I care about. He's out pitching Heaney now here. So I want to go with the Astros as well. You actually feel pretty good about this one. I think this should be an Astros victory. I think Hunter Brown will pitch well. I think the Astros will get will get to Andrew Heaney. I just don't trust him. I want to play some long balls as well. I'm debating Altuve anytime home run or Bregman. Bregman. I'll make up my mind by the end. I'm leaning Bregman.
Why not both, George?
I don't know if if it was in Houston, I probably would. All right, get the Crawford boxes there. But, Texas is a little different here. Not quite the short porch there. Because I actually, if I wanted to really more cover the board and just hope to hit one and win some money, I would do that. But I'm hoping to do a little bit more damage than that tonight. If this was not a short night as far as a slate, I would definitely go that direction. Just make some money here. But it's a shorter slate here. I don't have a ton of bets tonight. So I'm going to hope I'm going for gold here.
Let's see if we can be it's timely, obviously, with the Olympics. Let's see if we could be unified in this one. So, Twins-Cubs. Now, I am on the Twins' money line, and the Twins in this game are Again, slight favorites, looking at right around, as you see it, minus 122 versus plus money on the other side for the Cubs, plus 104. So I'm on the favorite here, and I know, way to go, Koff, like you're on the favorite. Very impressive take. But what I think jumps out here, George, is, we're looking at a pitching matchup of two guys that absolutely stink. Festa, Hendricks, both with ERAs sitting right around 7, and yet I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like there's a trap here because we have a total that is just 8 pregame right now. How do we not hammer the over in this one?
Well, I have hit the over, right? I don't care if it's fishy. I don't care if it smells, all right? And it does, Rob, because everything you said there is true. And maybe there's a gale force wind blowing in. I don't know. Maybe they think that's going to be the problem there. And I do believe I just saw right before I came on here, I'm double-checking now to make sure. So maybe this will could change some people's minds. Checking, yeah, Suzuki is out of the lineup for the Cubs. So I guess that could push your buttons as well here. But still, it's 8. It's Wrigley. It's two teams that should hit the other. But I'll be the first person to tell you, Adam. And if this was Joe Ranieri, he would tell you, Hendricks is killing us. All right, I think this guy's a softball pitcher. Hendricks, Corbin, by the way, same thing. He's pitching today. These guys should be destroyed, right? Every time they pitch, they should get wrecked. And lately, Hendricks has pitched pretty well here. That being said, I don't care. I'm taking the Twins, and I'm taking the over.
All right, we got a few more games still to touch on. My Red Sox against the Royals, the other Sox, White Sox, Athletics, which to me is a fascinating game in a lot of ways, and the Phillies and Dodgers as well. Let's sneak in the Red Sox and Royals. I was talking to Joe about it. Very important game for both of these teams as it relates to the wild card standings. Very important series is really a better way to put it. Paxton on the mound against Singer. Zino, I was on with him last night, very anti-Paxton. Joe didn't quite feel the same way, though. Where do you go here?
I'm going to be closer to Zino here. It's not that I hate Paxton. I don't put him quite with Hendricks or Corbin, guys who I think are going to get wrecked, but they're going to get hit. All right, that's the problem here. Singer, I think, will keep the Red Sox in check. Give me the Royals.
All right, we're going to talk about those other games, maybe even mix in some futures talk if we have time for it. George Kurtz is here with us, a popular host and analyst across SportsGrid. We'll be back on Game Time Decisions.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? So obviously you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Kaufman and Kurtz back here on Game Time Decisions on Sports Grid. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. We're going to find out just how smart, depending on how much we can take from the books tonight. That's really what it comes down to, right? And so let's see if we can handicap these last couple of games as well as things have gone in the early part so far. We have the White Sox and the Athletics, and normally we wouldn't be so excited to talk about a game like this, but what can I say, George? I am, whether it's because we have an Oakland team that is the biggest favorite on the board at 2-1, which yesterday it was right around, I think, minus 165 or so when Zeno and I were talking about it. And that was when the White Sox were going to go with a more experienced pitcher. Now they've decided to instead start Kai Busch up from AAA for his major league debut in Oakland. And so the number balloons. And so, like I said, minus 200, the White Sox are, they're dogs. The A's, the favorites at that 2-1 number. But the White Sox, they have dropped 20 straight games. Everyone expects it to be 21. This feels like if I know you, this goes one of two ways, right? I mean, and it's not the A's run line. It's either Oakland money line as part of a parlay, or it's jumping on the plus money number, which is a pretty substantial plus money number that we'd be looking at for Chicago here. I'm looking at plus 170. Where do you go here?
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think their losing streak gets to 23. All right, I think the White Sox will win one of this 3-game series here. Only because Oakland's got problems themselves, right? They're a better team than the White Sox, but they have issues themselves. I am not taking the plus money tonight, though, and I am not taking the money line tonight, actually. I just don't I like the A's tonight. I do not love them to take that line. And okay. I didn't like there wasn't 2 games I liked. There wasn't somebody else I could parlay them with. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel anyway to parlay. Like, I didn't want to parlay the A's with Cincinnati, which is probably the next game I like most, though, for the Reds to beat the Marlins tonight. I don't know if I will, because I thought Cincinnati, okay, they're going to win, but I think the A's are going to win, but I'm not positive. When I do a parlay, it's because I feel pretty good. Both sides are going to win. All right, or a 3-team parlay, whatever it might be here. So I'm sorry, Adam. I actually did go with the run line here. All right, A's can score runs. They hit home runs is what they do. All right, so I'm on the A's run line here. It's the price I liked best. I did take Rooker to hit a home run, although I did this before they changed their mind on the pitcher. I'm actually kind of annoyed here because sometimes when you put the rookie pitcher in, you don't know what he may be terrible or he may be really good. He may jazz up the team where they play better around him. He might. Maybe this is just me being negative because, once again, I made a bet. Oh, it changed pitchers on me, and I sort of hate that. So I feel a little bit more worried about it than I probably did earlier tonight. But still, going with Oakland. I have Rooker for the anytime home run. I was probably going to play at least another guy or two to hit home runs. Now I'm not. I might have gone with Langeliers to hit one out also. But I'm going to lay off that for now and just stick with Rooker, stick with the A's here. I said, I don't think they're going to win all 3. I think the White Sox will win one of the next 3 games, just not tonight.
Seen a large number of people on the over. It seems like money is flooding in on the over in the Phillies and Dodgers game, probably twofold. 1, low total, 7.5, and 2, the offenses, obviously, on both sides and what they're capable of, despite how banged up this Dodgers team is. That being said, am I crazy to like the under just because of this pitching matchup that we have here?
I don't think you're crazy, but I don't trust Nola. I just don't trust Aaron Nola. Got beat up by the Yankees last week. He's up and down. You don't know what you're going to get from him. He may be great. He may not be so much. That being said, one key thing you put up there, Dodgers are beat up. We do have some good news. It looks like Freddie Freeman will play tonight. He is back with the team. So it's fantastic for a couple of reasons. One, good for us, Dodger fans, baseball fans, whatever, but great for the Freeman family as his son is out of critical care. I believe his son was released from the hospital. Just fantastic. So great news for the Freeman family. And I wonder if that sort of parlays to the Dodgers getting that extra kick. A little extra motivation to win tonight. Freeman returns. Everything's well with the Freeman family there. So I went with the Dodgers as well here. I have not taken the over yet, but I think by game time here, I got 150 minutes. Pretty sure I'm going to have the over. The first thing, it's just too low. Just too low. Freeman's back. They should get Mookie Betts back maybe in 7 to 10 days. Muncie a couple of weeks here. They are getting healthier. They better get healthy because right now, we get Cleveland came back. Beating the Diamondbacks there. Okay, maybe they'll gain a game tonight. But it'll be a great game, Adam. But I have the over and the Dodgers.
Yeah, 3-2 Guardians right now, and top third, I think. The Reds are up 4-0 now on the Marlins, and the Giants up 4-0 on the Nationals. George, before we let you go, of all these games we talked about, favorite bet on the board tonight?
My favorite bet on the board, I'm going to go with Oakland. Yeah, they've lost 20 straight. I'm going to keep betting against them. And by the way, just because I don't think they're going to lose all three, I'll bet against them all three. I mean, they've lost 20 straight. I can only be wrong once. All right, only wrong once. So we'll see. But it has to be the Oakland A's. I can't believe I'm saying that.
George Kurtz, again, you can catch all the time here on SportsGrid. Get him on Twitter at George Kurtz. Well, thank you, George. We'll be back with Adam Kaplan.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend, missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
All right, we are here. Game Time Decisions. Thanks again to George Kurtz. Let's keep the carousel moving, get to a little bit of football here, and 'tis the season. Always love talking football, obviously, and we have got Adam Kaplan here with us, who is a regular on Coast to Coast with Pharrell. Of course, you can catch him Pro Football Network, Sirius XM, NFL Radio. He's all over. Kaplan, how are you, man?
Adam, I'm glad to be with you again. I'm good, man. So, yeah, it's been an interesting couple days here. I was with the Giants and Lions earlier today, out west over the weekend with the Raiders, Chargers, and Rams. So, yeah, this is my 21st year of my training camp tour, and there's never a dull moment. You never know what's going to happen in NFL practice.
Well, to that end, I'm glad to see that you are sitting there and healthy and unharmed. You were not in the midst of any brute physicality today, because there was a little bit of a tussle. Can I call it that? A tussle in that Giants and Lions joint practice that happened today. People are seeing a little bit of what it looked like right here. Take us through it.
Yeah, so what happened? First of all, that one there, I think that was the first one. I counted 4 of them. Now, when I say 4, there was one that was just a little pushing and shoving for about 10 seconds. But the first one lasted about a minute and a half. And what's interesting, Adam, is you've got that video there. And I was at the other field, so I could see it from where I was standing. But on the other field, nothing got disrupted. So typically what happens, Adam, when there's a fight in practice, not always, but typically players are either thrown out of practice or they're told, cool off, we'll put you in later. I didn't see anyone chucked out of practice between the Falcons and, the Lions and the host Giants today at there in New Jersey, of course. But it was very interesting because you've got mid-90s, right? Superhuman, really hot. And I've seen so many fights over the years. I was actually, this is crazy, when Washington, I think, was being hosted by the Jets about 8 years ago. There was a major skirmish for about 3 or 4 minutes. The players got pushed to the sidelines, and I was next to the fence, and I got actually pushed over. So your head's got to be on a swivel, man. You never know what's going to happen at any of these practices, particularly, Adam, when it's really, really hot, as it was today with those Giants and Lions.
Seems like a lot of people are sort of celebrating Daniel Jones' part of this, inciting the scuffle. It's any time that I guess your quarterback, especially one that has been maybe doubted as consistently as someone like Daniel Jones, is showing that extra level of heart and passion and rally and all of that. I don't know. Is this the type of thing that can make Giants feel like, oh, we got one? I mean, I know he's been paid, but beyond that, in terms of what the performance on the field looks like.
He actually hit a nice practice today, but here's the thing with Daniel Jones. He's not an emotional guy. He's kind of like this, folks. He's kind of even, not too high, not too low, and to show some emotion, that's good. It doesn't really mean anything in terms of winning any games or anything like that, but you like to see that. And I know coaches love to see that emotion from a quarterback who's kind of stayed, doesn't really say very much, kind of quiet. And remember now, when you look at the Giants, Adam, and it's on Hard Knocks, so it's out there. This is not a guess. They were going to draft Jaden Daniels if they could, if you could get close enough. I mean, you see that video from Hard Knocks on HBO, but he didn't get close enough. That he went at number 2, and they weren't able to get him. But they knew, and you just talked about it, with Daniel Jones's guaranteed money this season, they couldn't get out of it. The bottom line is they would have been stuck with him anyway, even if they would have drafted Daniels or a quarterback in the first round. They were going to have to keep Jones. No one was going to trade for that contract because he's coming off a torn ACL. But I can tell you, watching him today, the way he moved with that line pass rush, which is pretty good, by the way, with Aiden Hutchinson and others, he moved around very, very well. And you need to see that. It's not so much throwing touchdowns in practice. You're looking for mobility and the ability to drive the football downfield. And by the way, they were bombs away today in that practice.
There are a lot of teams, maybe more than there should be, quite frankly, that have a little bit of an uncertain situation at quarterback entering the season. We're sitting here, it's August 5th. There's still plenty of time for these things. Preseason's barely underway, just the one game, the Hall of Fame game, that didn't even make it the distance. A lot of time for stuff to be sorted out, obviously, but you go to Raiders camp and you look at, it's a quarterback turnover, quite frankly. I know Aiden O'Connell was there last year and started the back half of the year and finished really strong, to his credit. But, then they go out and, as we know, there's no more like Jimmy Garoppolo. Derek Carr is long gone. It's, you bring in Gardner Minshew, who at this point has turned into something of a career journeyman. And you wonder, is it going to be Minshew just because he does have more experience? Or, did O'Connell do enough to win over his once interim and now legit head coach in Pierce?
All right, so I see those odds there. My odds would be Gardner Minshew minus 130, O'Connell plus 140. Let me explain. And to be clear here, they have not named a starting quarterback. Being there Saturday, I could tell being around the club. They don't know for sure who's going to start, but Gardner Minshew's been a little bit better for what I'm told. He's a little bit ahead. Again, as you mentioned, and it's true, and this is important, both guys are going to split time in training camp and in the preseason, where Minshew may be getting the first guy up with the ones, but they're still splitting snaps. But Gardner Minshew was terrific in Saturday night's practice. And Adam, this is crazy. And I've really not seen this before, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. Not only was there hitting, okay, some teams still practice tackling, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. There was 35 to 45 minutes of live tackling in Saturday's practice at Jack Hammond Park in Costa Mesa, by the way, where the Chargers used to practice, and the Chargers, who I was with yesterday at the Bolt in El Segundo near LAX. But it was quite the scene with Antonio Pierce, the head coach, and you get it. He's a defensive head coach, an old school guy. I talked to AP at the owners' meeting, so he and I worked together at ESPN. And I listen, I get it. He wants a physical practice. He wants a physical football team. There's no question about it. And they had an attitude. And this is a team that not a lot of people are talking about, but they should. I love their defensive front. They're legit 8 deep there. Not great in the secondary at corner. We talked about quarterback, where Minshew, by the way, played very well in that practice. Let's not forget, though, before we turn our attention to other teams, he had a very good season for the Colts under difficult circumstances. And remember, they were very, very close to getting a wild card spot.
So tell me if you disagree, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no bigger story going on in the NFL right this moment than what is going to happen with Brandon Ayuk, who wants to be traded. Clearly he wants out of San Francisco, or at least, wants a much different looking deal. And the Niners don't seem any closer to moving him. And you keep hearing teams linked to Ayuk. The Patriots have come up a number of times, but yeah, it's noise, obviously. How does this play itself out?
Yeah, a couple of things. So my reporting during the draft and for free agency, the Patriots were calling around teams. They called the Eagles for A.J. Brown. They were told he's not available. Then Brown, of course, get his contract extended. They called around a lot. Now, all these rumors are just rumors. People are taking stuff that's already out there and just recycling them. I just don't pay attention to it. The Niners don't want to trade Ayuk. But at some point, they're going to have to make a decision on what they're going to do because he's not practicing. I know Ayuk did ask for a trade. I don't believe he really wants to go. He wants a contract. You hit on it on the ladder. He wants a contract that's commensurate with the top deals, or at least close enough to it. He's not going to get $35 million a year. I don't know that he's even going to get $32 million, what A.J. Brown got, because A.J. Brown's a true number one receiver. Ayuk, unfortunately, is a victim of circumstance, Adam. There's like four other guys who've got to get the football in the passing game, and that's the problem. And that's why he's not got the deal.
If he does move, and I know we're just projecting ahead, we're looking into the crystal ball. We know how this works in the NFL. If he gets dealt away, you don't have a real player. You don't have a Brandon Ayuk coming the other way. You have a, draft picks, collection of the future, obviously. How much does that change the Niners' future outlook in 2024 if Ayuk is not out there with Samuel and Kittle and McCaffrey and all these guys?
Ricky Pearsall is that guy. He was drafted in the first round. That was a stunning pick. A lot of us thought it would be a corner. They got the cornerback in the second round, and Ricky Pearsall, I'm told, looked pretty good coming back from his hamstring injury. That is a guy for the future. It's got to start. Next year, by the way, this is going to come to a head. Someone's going to have to go. You can't keep all these receivers.
Adam Kaplan, again, you can check him out on Twitter. And certainly, I encourage that you do so at Kaplan NFL. He is on Pharrell Coast to Coast all the time, Pro Football Network, Sirius XM NFL Radio. Adam, really appreciate you hopping on with us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back. We got more with the Sportsbook Consigliere. Dave Sharapan on the way.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing the trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
All right, we got you for just a little bit longer here on Game Time Decisions. After us, it is in-game live prime time. Joe Ranieri and this guy, Dave Sharapan, the sportsbook consigliere. Get him on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. Oh, always love when he's around. We were talking, the two of us, we were hanging out doing a couple of shows last week. It's good to have you back, Sharapan. How are you, bud? Although, did you probably knew I was hosting. Did you wear this just to spite me, knowing that these Royals that you're representing are facing my Red Sox?
I didn't even see who the Red Sox were playing. I just liked the Royals tonight, and then I noticed it, and I was like, oh, geez, Kaufman's on. You know, we hung out last week, absolutely killed it on Thursday and Friday on In-Game Live. Me and Ranieri tonight. This Royals to make the playoffs is minus 210, and the Red Sox is plus 175. I mean, Sam's always throwing curveballs with these graphics and stuff. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to just see something like tonight. Short price on the Royals at home and against Paxson. That was what I liked right there. I'm good with that. Are you good with the Red Sox tonight in Paxson?
I would rather just bet the under than a side in this one. If I had to bet a side, I would be on the Royals, but I don't like bet. See, you asked me the other day, like, what kind of bettor am I? Am I superstitious? That type of thing. Yeah. Here is one thing I didn't bring up with you. I don't like to bet against teams that I am rooting for, even if I think it's a good spot to bet against them, because I'm just not one of those people who's wired to be the whole, like, oh, it's a consolation prize. My team lost, but my bet won. So at least either I'm investing in my team because I believe they're going to win. I'm not just going to blindly bet on them. I will bet on them in good spots, or I'm going to stay away. It's going to be a fade spot. I don't need to bet on it because I don't want to sit there and have a ticket that I'm rooting against because I want to see my team win.
That's fine. Like, see, all these years in the business, like, it just wears it out of you. Now it's just like, I mean, you can remove that bias, and I've done it this year a few times and gone against the Pirates. And you're right, though, like, as they get good, and it's getting tougher and tougher to do it. Like Friday night, I knew the Diamondbacks were going to win, but Saturday I bet on the Pirates, and then Sunday I didn't do anything, and I sat there and watched it, and Skeens pitched, and I was just getting aggravated. So, like, it almost like became an anger bet today on the Guardians against the Diamondbacks. And you got to be careful of that, too, because, like, the Diamondbacks came back and won. Peterson hit that home run. That was great. The Diamondbacks are charging. They're in the playoffs as of the, season ending today. They're not going away. They're going to be there the rest of the season. But they were favorites on the road today with Gallen at Cleveland. I'm sitting here rooting for Cleveland right now. Before the Red Sox play the Royals, we'll be rooting for the Royals tonight.
So we do have games coming up. Obviously, Red Sox and Royals, one of them, starting in 20 minutes, whatever it is. Yep. But we got a couple others starting during the 8 o'clock Eastern hour as your show will be getting going. Astros, Rangers, Twins, Cubs. Do you have a favorite bet from either of those?
Astros, Rangers, Twins, Cubs. Nothing exceptionally like, oh boy, I really like this. I mean, it seems painfully obvious to me to take the Twins against the Cubs, but I don't look now. Are the Cubs starting to hit? This might be an overplay rather than a side, just because when you look at the numbers, it's against Hendricks, and it seems painfully obvious. But sometimes those painfully obvious ones don't come in. The other game, Houston and Texas, for me personally, it's probably against Haney and laying a short price with the Astros, but they just went through a bad weekend against the Rays. Lineup's not hitting. Total's 8.5. Screams under to me. I mean, so I want to, when I like the team, when I like the game under, I'll look to take the home team, but that's a pass for me. The story of the night, and, we'll see if you're awake when this game ends, got to be the White Sox in the A's. I was going to come all White Soxed up, because there's not a book on planet Earth that won't need the White Sox tonight. 20 in a row, ultimate futility. We talked about it last week. What price do you have to have tonight, Adam, to go, I like the White Sox tonight?
Plus 300. That's
right.
But I'll tell you. But I'll tell you why. And it's like we were talking about it earlier. We've got a graphic for you. It's plus 175, I think, in most places right now to go on Chicago. Originally, I was going to say like plus 250, but you know what? Honestly, it's not enough. It's not enough because they've got a kid making his major league debut in this spot where I guess you could look at it and say, no pressure on Kai Busch because what's he going to do? Lose like they have been for the last 3 weeks? So that's not a big thing on him. I'm sure the manager's speech to him pregame is, go out, have fun. You'll never forget this day. This is an incredible moment in your life. Win, lose, whatever. It's not a big deal. But honestly, everybody out there's a little bit tight. They're all sweating a little bit. They want this win. They want this skid to lose. And it's sort of poetic that it's Oakland on the other side, right? Because this is an Oakland A's team that not this year, a long time ago, won 20 straight games against a White Sox team that has lost 20 straight games. And so does the streak end? I don't think so. I'm invested in Oakland. I got in there before ballooned to minus 200, but I just don't see how you got to give me at least something with a 2 in front if I'm even going to think about going on the White Sox side. Do you disagree?
No, fair. I don't know what to make the price, but I know that when I woke up after I saw the overnight last night around 160, 165, I was like, all right, that kind of makes sense. Nothing makes sense now. Oakland minus 200. They're 9-3 as favorites this season. Only been favored 12 times, but they've been good in that role. But there's just certain price points where you go, wait a second. I mean, I'd feel better about taking a plus, even plus 1.5. This might be an in-game play. White Sox first 5, keep it close. A lot of times, one of the things I learned from all this time in the book and baseball season, when teams that are out of it, and the White Sox have been out of it since the season started, bring up a guy, first-time starter, nobody's seen him. You got a shot. Like, you at least have a shot the first couple times through the order.
Yep.
If he pitches well, they're going to be in a game. And it's a conveyor belt of people, like the people movers at the airport. They just get on and they come right to the counter and bet against guys like that. So,
it
can win.
That's why I said, Dave, I like the Nerfy in that one tonight. I think that first inning, great spot for Busch. We'll be back with Sheridan.
Recently, I feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not making bad swings. I don't feel like I'm making terrible decisions, and just had got a little bit of a streak of bad luck on par fives. Didn't birdie any of them at the Open, didn't birdie any of them today. It's just, and I didn't feel like I did anything terribly wrong, right? But that's just golf. It happens. What's done is done, and this week is the most important week of the year right now.
If he lands it pin high, he's going to be off over the pin position and leave himself a tough putt there. That should bite now. He didn't like it by the looks of it, but he'll love it when he sees it.
Just get this before that bunker. Put himself in a good position.
Just a tiny little baby fade, ideally placed.
To tie the lead at 16. Playing well, isn't he, John Rahm?
And OMG, what a championship Sunday we just witnessed.
Win, right? Selfishly, you always want to get that done, but you don't want to see a teammate and a good friend missing a putt for that happening for me.
The Live Golf League delivers every single event, doesn't it? I mean, what an incredible finish there. You know what, Tyrrell Hatton, I feel for him. He's been playing beautiful golf. In fact, since Miami, he's been the best player in our league based on the strokes gained metric.
I'm really happy that I had my first Live Golf win. Now that Kelly and the kids are watching, just knowing that I'm bringing a trophy home for them, it feels good to say that it's coming home.
Few more minutes here on Game Time Decisions. Dave Sharapan, who is on the way with Joe Ranieri for In-Game Live Prime Time. Sharapan still hanging out with us. And I wanted to ask you, I don't normally do this with you, but I don't know why I should. This seems like an automatic with you. I was talking to the guys, Sam, Chris, before we came on, and they said, yeah, we got Sharapan on toward the end of the show, and said, oh, what do we want to hit on with him? We can talk about the baseball games and go into some NFL futures, do whatever. And I think it was Sam who said that, one of the great things about Dave being in Vegas is he's walking around, he's boots on the ground, he's going to the different books, he's talking to people. I'm curious, what was on the agenda today as you were sort of, walking around, finding out what people are betting on, reacting to training camp fights, injuries, whatever else, or, looking at the diamond tonight, that skid for the White Sox. We were just talking about the A's. What were people cluing you in on today?
One was the Chargers season wins and Herbert and whether he's going to, be okay for week one and how does that affect the number and what do you expect from Harbaugh? I said, guys, I haven't seen anything yet. I can't make a judgment on that. But after the show, I'm headed down to Circa, and it's the site of Bet Bash, where there's going to be a zillion people here in town from, all walks of life that are bettors, people looking for different things and all kind of stuff. So I got to go see a guy about a thing right after the show. I'll be down there. I have no idea where we're going to end up to eat. These things in Vegas, you never know where you're going to have a meeting. I mean, the last time the boys were here, we ended up having a meeting at a craps table, at a roulette table, at a blackjack table. Turned into a 4-hour affair. I gave everybody a fist bump and a hug on the way out, and they all went straight to the airport. These people are coming tonight, Adam. They're going to be here till Friday. I'm going to need help. I might be texting you at about, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, your time, just to get me home from the strip and say, hey, are you up? What are you doing? Yeah, get me home.
Yeah. But either that or it'll be the cough. Could you call me back real quick and just, say there's an emergency that I got to get out of here. I got to go home. I got to see my family. Listen, I'm a lifeline for you, buddy. I'm here for you. I had a couple people reach out to me and say, hey, you going to Bet Bash this week? And I'll be honest, it didn't even cross my mind. And now I wish I was, because it would mean I get to hang out with you and so many other titans like yourself in the industry. That would be a good time, obviously.
Well, it's going to be
another year.
A long week. It's going to be a long week. There's going to be a lot of people. You'll probably see some line moves on the preseason football because the games start, the full slate of games start. We had the Hall of Fame game last week. There's a ton of line movement this first week. Games move 2, 3, 4 points because the numbers are so malleable, soft. They're literally pieces of clay that just get moved. So you go from 2 to 5 to 5.5, different things like that. Totals will swing 2, 3 points. It's back. It's officially football season this week.
Yeah, one thing I sense that you're not this way, but one thing that I've learned about myself as a football bettor is that I go very light on week one, NFL and college, because I'm not interested in making an investment a month out from the season, even if it's a better line. Obviously, so much can happen between now and then in terms of training camp or preseason injuries that all of a sudden those lines swing back in another direction, or they're just not as important, or maybe after all they're, they go back to what you bet them at. I mean, yeah, there are spots that you can take advantage of without a doubt, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure there are enough of them to make it worth my while. But that's just me. I think I'm in the minority on this.
You are in the minority. These people love, especially the preseason, to get the better number. To hell with the results. Yeah. It's all about the number, Adam. And if they can get that better number, they're going to lock it up. I got to get out of here.
I care about the result.
Check-in before the show. Take it home.
Please do. All right. We love seeing you here again. Dave Sharapan, get him on Twitter. Sportsbook Consigliere, Sports BK Consig is the Twitter handle. Great stuff out of Sharapan and everybody here. It feels like a lifetime ago already, but we had Coach James Young talking about Olympic betting, men's and women's basketball. Joe Madden, she weighed in on the Olympic hoops as well, but mostly baseball with George Kurtz as well. Brad Thomas talking about tomorrow's soccer. Great stuff out of him. And Adam Kaplan was giving us a lot of good insights from training camps in football, especially all those melees, those brawls, those fisticuffs, whatever you want to call them, that were happening between the Giants and the Lions. Want to thank our great guys that set this show up, made it all run seamlessly. Of course, Sam and Chris. Awesome stuff out of them. I am Adam Kaufman. Be back with you maybe at some point this week. We'll talk more. But on the way, it's in-game live prime time here on Sports Grid.